Live from central Pennsylvania, this is CBS 21 News This Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Sherry Christian. Here's what's happening in the news today. Search suspended. 5 missing U.S. Marines confirmed dead after 2 warplanes crash off the coast of Japan. Plus, police on the lookout for a man they say set fire to a home in York County. And a man hit and killed by a vehicle in Dauphin County is identified as an area bartender. We hear from those who knew him well. But first, let's get a check of weather and traffic with Steve Knight and Ashley Honey. Steve.
Yeah, really frigid out there this morning. Many spots have fallen down into the teens as we start the day. Harrisburg right now, one of our warm spots at 22. Same thing with Lancaster. You can see Shrewsbury there in southern York County also at 22. But boy, those outlying areas, they are cold as we start you out. Couple of extra minutes to scrape that windshield here again this morning as we do have some patchy frost that's developed overnight. We're pretty quiet weather-wise next couple of days. Little weak impulse though. We just picked up on this morning. Wants to slide through here very early on Thursday, and I do think that could put down a snow shower or two first thing on Thursday, especially Harrisburg and areas to the north and west, and maybe make things a little slick. So we'll be watching that for you the next couple of days. In the meantime, today is mostly sunny with a high of 38.
Well, good morning and a very happy Tuesday to you. Really the only accident that you have to worry about right now is if you're commuting in and around 83 heading on up towards the York Split. It's on Susquehanna Trail at Cloverleaf Road. There will be emergency officials on scene there as they work to clear that accident. But other than that, things are moving A-OK. You can see an average speed of 65 miles an hour moving up 83 towards the York Split. The rest of the Capital Beltway, once you get up there, moving just fine. That's a look at your members first. Traffic alert.
Breaking overnight, the U.S. military halts search and recovery operations and declares 5 missing crew members dead. The Marines were on a plane that was refueling last Thursday when it collided with the fighter jet off Japan's southern coast. It happened during a regularly scheduled training exercise. 2 crew members were recovered after the accident, but 1 died. The Marines say the survivor was in stable condition when rescued. An arrest warrant has been issued for a man accused of setting fire to a home in York County. Newberry Township Police are looking for this man, 46-year-old Douglas Kiesecker of York. Police say yesterday they were responding to a home on Castle Road to check the area for a man believed to be wanted by another jurisdiction. And when they were on their way, they were informed that the home was on fire. Witnesses say the home started smoking moments after Kiesecker walked out. This picture released from Newberry Township Police. Police say they later spotted Kiesecker in a vehicle, but when they tried to pull him over, he refused to stop. Court documents show the woman who lives in the home that was set on fire was in a relationship with Kiesecker and had recently filed a PFA against him. A 62-year-old woman is in the hospital this morning after being hit by a minivan in Ephrata. This happened on East Main Street last night. Police say a 91-year-old woman from Denver was driving the vehicle. They say a preliminary investigation shows the woman was crossing the road at a location not in a marked crosswalk, but they are asking anyone who witnessed the crash to give them a call. East Lampeder Township Police have released the name of a man killed in a crash early yesterday morning. Police say 26-year-old Alan Rios of Lancaster was riding a bike when he was hit by the trailer portion of a passing tractor trailer. He died at the scene. This happened on Lincoln Highway East around 5:30 yesterday morning. A man hit and killed along Front Street in Susquehanna Township Sunday has been identified as a well-known bartender. Michael Powers worked at the Boiling Springs Tavern in Cumberland County. A man who works across the street from the bar says Powers became a friend.
He's kind of just become, one of our buddies, and it was never we're going to the tavern. It was always like, let's go see Mike at the tavern, So he just became like that staple of why we win.
Police are still investigating the crash. The driver has been identified, but no charges have been filed.
The Kremlin is calling out Secretary of State Mike Pompeo this morning. That after Pompeo reacted to a pair of Russian strategic bombers being delivered to Venezuela, tweeting that the correspondence between the two countries is, quote, 2 corrupt governments squandering public funds while their people suffer. Now Russian President Vladimir Putin's spokesperson is calling Pompeo's comments undiplomatic and inappropriate, adding that the U.S. is being a hypocrite. Russia-U.S. ties have sunk to post-Cold War lows.
A major snowstorm that hit southern states this weekend has moved out to sea, but the threat remains. This morning, they're dealing with plunging temperatures that could refreeze melting snow and make roads more treacherous. Many schools in Virginia and North Carolina are still closed today. The storm has been blamed for at least 3 deaths in North Carolina. Today, President Trump is set to meet at the White House with Democratic congressional leaders. The president wants a funding package for the next fiscal year to include at least $5 billion for his proposed border wall with Mexico. He's set to meet with House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi and Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer. U.S. authorities have arrested at least 32 people at a demonstration at the border separating San Diego from Tijuana, Mexico. Officials say most were arrested for trespassing and one was arrested for assaulting an agent. The rally was to show support for a caravan of Central American asylum seekers. Attorney General Josh Shapiro is joining 23 other attorneys general in opposing President Trump's latest attack on immigration. The administration has proposed an overhaul of so-called public charge rules that would force legal immigrants to risk their immigration status in order to access health care, housing, and other programs. Shapiro says the rule is unlawful and would cause harm to immigration populations. The York City Fire Department is looking to add more firefighters to its staff, a move they say will actually save them money. Right now, the department relies heavily on overtime, spending more than $1 million on OT alone in 2018. The department believes it can save $12 million over the next 17 years by hiring 10 new firefighters. The new hires will fill 7 new positions and 3 retirements.
You start working all these hours, you start getting tired, and with tiredness comes mistakes. And unfortunately, in our business, mistake could cost somebody their life.
Right now, this is just a proposal and will require a final vote by City Council. Demolition is underway at a popular restaurant along the Susquehanna River. A massive fire destroyed Dockside Willie's in Wormleysburg back in July. Officials believe the fire started in a brick oven in the kitchen. The owner says they're hoping to reopen in June. A Colorado mother vanishes on Thanksgiving, and now all her family wants is to have her back home and safe before Christmas. What police know about her disappearance so far. Plus, a series of attacks, all targeting Jehovah's Witness houses of worship. We have a breakdown of what has happened so far.
Well, we've got a very cold start to the day. I'll let you know when we could actually see a few snow showers with my first warning forecast.
You're watching CBS 21 News this morning.
You know, fairly quiet weather pattern does continue today, tomorrow as we stay dry. Just really bundled up and a couple of extra minutes out there this morning once again to scrape that windshield as we have some patchy frost that has developed. Now by Thursday morning, we've got a weak little impulse that wants to slide in here, and we could see a quick coating of snow, especially those areas Harrisburg and to the north and to the west, and that could be just in time for that Thursday morning commute, and that could make things a little bit slick in a few spots. But in the meantime, boy, bundled up, layer everybody up this morning. Temperatures that are down into the teens by the time the kids get off the bus this afternoon. Some sunshine, not too breezy today, but chilly. Highs getting into the upper 30s.
Yeah, Steve mentioned very cold outside, so perhaps if you can, allow your car to warm up a little bit before you get in and head out the door because it is chilly. No issues for us in Lancaster this morning. All of our roads are fairly quiet. Route 30 is moving really nicely. No issues moving both east and westbound. Intercity roads are moving A-OK. Same goes for 283 all the way up towards the Eisenhower Exchange and the rest of the Capitol Beltway. That's Look at Your Members First Traffic Alert.
The largest facility in the country that combines agriculture and aquatic life is opening today in our own backyard, folks. CBS 21's Joe Ducey live at Commonwealth Charter Academy in Harrisburg. Joe, this is going to give students a lot of unique opportunities, isn't it?
Yeah, Sherry, it's pretty awesome. AgWorks at CCA, it offers students pretty much a limited possibility when it comes to planting and producing a variety of plants and trees. There's really no limit to what the students could do here. It's a 6,100 square foot facility. Going to bring in Dr. Reese Flory, just sort of talk about, when we talk about variety, what you guys are able to do, sort of talk about what students are able to do in this facility.
Well, I think this media bed describes a lot of the possibilities. This is a fairly unique group of exotic plants because this is a research facility. We want to be able to discover what in this aquaponics facility grows the best so we can inform people that do this from production. So we're looking at everything from banana trees, we're looking at a coffee plant, we're looking at pineapples, even cocoa, because we understand from Hershey that cocoa production's a real worldwide crisis right now with diseases with the plants and losing some space to grow them. So we're doing some cocoa as well as lemons, some aromatic herbs, as well as your traditional vegetables you would see in Pennsylvania, like cucumbers and tomatoes.
Surely plants, fruits, vegetables from all different parts of the world grown right here. For someone who's not familiar with what aquaponics is, real quick, in a nutshell, what's aquaponics? What makes this place tick?
Well, aquaponics is growing without soil. The engine is fish. You feed the fish, waste products from the fish are converted into nitrogen. That nitrogen feeds the plants. The plants pull those nutrients out of the water, clean the water, then the water goes back into the fish.
And you guys do all different sorts of different experiments and whatnot, and we're going to get to some of that next half hour. But for now, Sherry, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Joe. Well, today is the final Commonwealth Vehicle Auction of the year. There will be more than 300 cars on display and available for purchase. Among them are cars seized by state law enforcement agencies, and they include a 2015 Chevy Suburban, a 2009 Mercedes, a Range Rover, and much more. The auction begins at 10 this morning at Manheim Keystone, Pennsylvania. Vehicles can be bought in the form of a money order, cash, or by check. A dog is known as man's best friend, right? And one in California is proving just that. His loyal act after that destructive and deadly wildfire that's moving his owner and people across the country to tears. The search is on for a missing Colorado mother. Kelsey Barrett was last seen on Thanksgiving when she was making a trip to the grocery store. Police say her employer received a text from Barrett's phone 3 days later saying she would not be coming in the following week. And that's when authorities were able to track her cell phone and found it to be roughly 800 miles away near Gooding, Idaho.
She doesn't run off, and someone knows where she's at. Kelsey, we just want you home. Call us if you can, and we won't quit looking.
Police say Kelsey's fiance is not a suspect and is cooperating with authorities. Officials in Washington state are investigating a series of fires targeting Jehovah's Witness houses of worship. The most recent incident happened on Friday. Officials say this was the 5th attack on the religious group in the area. In March, there were 2 fires at Kingdom Halls. Then in May, shots were fired at another, causing more than $10,000 in damage. And in July, another arson destroying that house of worship. Police say they have no suspects. An accused Russian spy is cooperating with the federal government as part of a plea deal. CBS News correspondent Mark Liverman reports.
Prosecutors say this is the face of a Russian spy. Maria Butina will plead guilty to a single count of conspiracy. That's according to a source familiar with the case. It's part of a new plea agreement in which she's agreed to cooperate with the Justice Department's investigation. Prosecutors allege that Butina violated U.S. espionage laws by infiltrating U.S. political groups. They say it was on behalf of a high-ranking official in Russian President Vladimir Putin's inner circle. Prosecutors say this is not related to special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia probe. The guilty plea is a far cry from her lawyer's tone back in July when she was arrested.
We remain confident she'll prevail in this case. She's not an agent of the Russian government, the Russian Federation. She's innocent of the charges brought against her. Most importantly, she's a young student seeking to make her way in America.
Butina has been in solitary confinement in a Virginia jail. Her lawyers are now asking for a sentence of 0 to 6 months. Because this is a felony conviction, Butina faces deportation.
And last month, a federal judge rejected Butina's attorney's request to remove her from solitary confinement. Her lawyer cited a lack of meaningful human contact and sensory deprivation in prison. A dog is finally reunited with its owner after waiting outside a burned home for weeks in Paradise, California. Andrea Gaylord was unable to get to her dogs, Madison and Miguel, before she had to flee the deadly campfire. Miraculously, both dogs survived. Miguel turned up at a shelter, but Madison stayed behind at the home. An animal rescue volunteer spotted Madison standing guard and left him food and water regularly until he was reunited with Gaylord.
Imagine the loyalty of hanging in through the worst of circumstances and being here waiting. It was so emotional.
Madison is an Anatoline Shepherd mix known for being loyal guard dogs.
And now, CBS 21 News First Warning Weather with meteorologist Steve Knight.
And that is a loyal guard dog, that is for sure. Great story. All right, temperatures this morning are cold. I know it's been cold lately, folks, but this is one of the colder mornings we've had of the season. Widespread teens here as we start the day. You can see very, very chilly. A couple of spots still hanging tough in the 20s. Harrisburg at 22. Same thing with Shrewsbury. Lancaster right now sitting at 22 degrees, but very cold start. It's quiet for us. Skies are mainly clear, and that's why our temperatures have dropped off so much. So the same big ridge of high pressure that kept that southern storm to our south is still in command for us. Couple of extra minutes here this morning to scrape that windshield as we do have some patchy frost yet again here as we start your day. So pretty quiet next couple of days. Just have that cold air locked into place. Going to watch out for some snow showers early on Thursday. It won't be much, but it could be enough to put down a quick coating. That could make that Thursday morning commute a little bit tricky. Then the next bona fide storm system that comes our way, it's going to have some warm air out ahead of it, so it's going to fall as just plain rain. But future radar next couple of days, cold, quiet, same pattern that we've been in. But then watch this little weak impulse arrive overnight Wednesday into Thursday. This is Thursday morning at 6 a.m. And our future model here wants to pick up on a little bit of a coating, especially Harrisburg and areas to the north and to the west. And as cold as we are, wouldn't take a whole lot of snow to make things a little bit tricky for the Thursday morning commute. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. Also keeping an eye on this. So this is a big rainmaker that's going to come our way. I think it gets here late in the day on Friday. So we'll get in, daylight hours on Friday dry. By Friday evening, rain showers start to push in from the south. Looking like a pretty soggy day for us on Saturday before all of this starts to exit. Could be a lingering shower early on Sunday. We'll keep an eye on that for you as well. So very cold next couple of days. That purple shading, you can see all of this cold air. But as we head toward the weekend, we nudge in some warmer air just ahead of our next weather maker, and that's why we're talking about plain rain for the upcoming weekend. In fact, look at Friday's high up to 46. By Saturday, we're going to get it near 50 degrees, so we're actually going to swing things back the other way and be up above average. And sorry, snow lovers, it's looking like just a big rainstorm for us, perhaps as much of an inch of rain. Mostly sunny, breezy today, highs getting into the upper 30s. Tonight, we're going to drop things down into the mid-20s for your overnight low. There's the rest of your first warning, 7-day forecast. So we'll look for those snow showers to be around. First thing on Thursday could make for a few slick spots with a quick coating. Rain develops by Friday evening, lingers throughout the day on Saturday. Saturday looking like a bit of a washout for us with a high near 50.
We're problem-free around the Capitol Beltway this morning, checking in with 83, moving on to 81. That looks good. No problems near the Eisenhower Exchange. 283 hopping onto the Beltway is moving nicely. And same goes for our river routes this morning, 1115, 22, 22, and those inner-city Harrisburg roads. That's Look at Your Members First Traffic Alert.
Well, 'tis the season to find the perfect tree, but it might be harder for some and a little more pricey. Why some are saying the supply for Christmas trees isn't meeting the demand.
You're watching CBS 21 News this morning.
Well, mainly clear skies, but most of our outlying areas have slipped down into the teens this morning. So yeah, you're going to need everything out there. Layer it up, give yourself a few extra minutes to scrape that windshield as well, as we have some patchy frost. Quiet for us here next couple of days. Then this weak little wave of energy wants to come through very early on Thursday. I do think that could trigger a snow shower or two just in time for the Thursday morning commute, and perhaps even put down a little quick coating of snow, Harrisburg and areas to the north and west. So we'll be watching that for you here over the next couple of days. But in the meantime, for today, we do work in some sunshine. Should still be in the low 40s for highs. We're going to be about 4 or 5 degrees below average. Look for a high in the upper 30s.
Our CBS 21 Days of Caring continues, and today we're highlighting the Salvation Army and its Red Kettle campaign. The campaign collects donations to help fund the organization's programs. Our own Ashley Honey and Steve Knight will be helping out today, acting as bell ringers at Carnes in Lemoyne. They'll be there from 10 a.m. to noon. Stop by, say hi, and make a donation. We're also highlighting the efforts of the Meals on Wheels program. Yesterday, Ashley and Steve helped the organization by handing out lunches at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church. Every weekday, Meals on Wheels delivers well-balanced meals to people with physical or mental disabilities.
These are people that have conditions that are challenging, and for the most part, they are very gracious and grateful. And it's nice that they have interaction with people throughout the week, because some of these people are lonely.
Those who receive the meals are also encouraged to make a financial contribution to the program if they can. The Messick's Light Show in Elizabethtown is back. Skyview 21 capturing the display from a bird's eye view. The show runs every 15 to 20 minutes at night from 6 to 9:30. It's on every day from now through December 30th. And if you turn your radio to 95.5, the music will match up with the light display. Donations are collected at the end of the show, and all the proceeds go toward local families in need. Christmas trees costing a little more than usual this year, and experts say the 2008 financial crisis is partly to blame. Sellers say the demand for trees is up, but that's because it's been hard to get enough supply in some parts of the country. After the financial crisis, some growers were forced to shut down, and others didn't plant as many trees, which take 7 to 10 years to grow. Some tree farmers are calling it a shortage, but the National Christmas Tree Association says there's nothing to worry about.
There is not a shortage. There are Christmas trees available. Everyone who wants one will be able to get one.
The association says it expects to sell more than 27 million trees this year. Hundreds of thousands remain in the dark across North Carolina. We take a look at the current conditions as residents there continue to dig out after a devastating snowstorm and why the threat still isn't over. Plus, President Trump continues to weigh his options when it comes to his new chief of staff. We'll tell you who's on his short list.
You're watching CBS 21 News this morning.
A year's worth of snowfall or more fell in some places in little more than a day.
Folks in North Carolina still trying to dig out after record-breaking snow fell this weekend. And I know he was trying to paint a picture, but how much of an exaggeration is a year's worth?
It's not an exaggeration.
Right?
It's exactly dead on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the storm has moved away from the Tar Heel State. Folks not out of the woods yet, though.
Yeah, winter weather advisory still in place down south as plunging temperatures now are refreezing any snow that's been trying to melt and making roads more slick once again, creating a nightmare for responders who are still trying to restore power to hundreds of thousands of people.
The roads are in bad shape and it's hard for us to get into them.
But it wasn't all gloom and doom. Take a look. Many able to enjoy, slip and sliding, sledding during this unusual pre-winter blast. That's the video I like right there. There's nothing better than snow football. It takes me back to being like 7, 8 years old, right?
Right.
You'd have the Nerf football out there. You could play tackle football and nobody would get hurt, Sherry.
Exactly.
Right, because like this guy gets decked, but it's okay. You land in the snow.
Something positive to do with all that
Right,
mess.
exactly. We are cold enough for snow. We could see a snow shower or two early on Thursday morning, but for the most part, it's just cold but quiet here next couple of days, but really chilly out there this morning. Temperatures have slipped down into the teens in many backyards, especially your outlying areas. A couple of extra minutes to scrape that windshield this morning as we do have some patchy frost that has developed. So a quiet weather pattern that will continue, just chilly next couple of days. But notice this little weak impulse that tries to slide in there early on Thursday. I do think that could trigger a quick little snow shower, especially Harrisburg areas north and west Thursday morning, and make things a little bit slick for that Thursday morning commute. But in the meantime, it stays pretty quiet for us today with some sunshine and highs in the upper 30s.
Good morning and a very happy Tuesday to you. Getting a check in with Cumberland County this morning. Carlisle roads are moving A-OK if you're getting ready to head out the door. No issues this morning on our major roadways surrounding the city. 81 is moving nicely. Same goes for the PA Turnpike. No issues on 83 moving on up towards York Split, or 581 working your way through Camp Hill. That's a look at your members first. Traffic alert.
Today, an autopsy is scheduled for a man who was found dead in York County. The body was found in a creek along Dellinger School Road in Chanceford Township yesterday morning. The victim has been identified as 78-year-old Alan Stover. The coroner says he didn't live far from where his body was found. Officials also say it appears he may have been there a few days. No foul play is suspected. An update this morning to a fatal pedestrian-involved crash in Susquehanna Township, Dauphin County. The victim hit and killed along Front Street Sunday night has been identified as Michael Powers. And as CBS 21's Brendan Kinney reports, he was a well-known and respected bartender on the West Shore.
He leaves behind a void that no one else can fill.
Memories of Michael Powers fill the Boiling Springs Tavern in Cumberland County, like the book he used to take orders. Michael was killed Sunday evening after a car hit him while he was walking. It happened just outside of Harrisburg along North Front Street at Tuscarora Street. Kevin sits at the bar where Michael worked for 24 years.
He was always connecting people. He had this uncanny ability to take someone that would come into a bar like this by themselves and make them feel welcome.
Jake Vilwalk works across the street from where Michael served up food, drinks, and friendship for about 4 years. Jake heard the tragic news first thing Monday morning.
Felt like I got hit by a freight train, you know, and it was hard. It was hard. I mean, even like right now talking about it's like a gut wrench, you know, because again, you don't go to the tavern just to get a drink. You go to get a drink and talk to Mike.
Jake says he'll always remember Michael's caring personality and his ability to make people feel like family in and out of the tavern.
It wasn't just like he was your friend when you were in the bar. Like he went out of his way a lot of times if he saw you in public to, you know, talk to you and be your friend as well.
Brendan Kinney, CBS 21 News.
Thank you, Brendan. Charges have been filed in a crash that fatally injured an off-duty Washington, D.C. firefighter in Carlisle. 57-year-old Robert Marshall was changing a tire along I-81 back in April when he was hit by a water tank truck. He died at the hospital 8 days later. Investigators say the driver who hit him had a blood alcohol content more than twice the legal limit. A Lancaster man is convicted of first-degree murder in the shooting death of Hugo Garcia Hernandez. The jury found Jose Ferrufino acted on premeditation and with specific intent to kill when he shot the 35-year-old inside his home back in March. Ferrufino faces a mandatory life sentence. Prosecutors say he had ill will towards Garcia Hernandez due to a relationship the victim was having with his wife. A Harrisburg man is behind bars this morning for allegedly trying to set a house on fire with 5 people inside. Demetrius Adams is charged with 5 counts of attempted homicide. Police say he attacked a woman inside her home on Riley Road Sunday. He allegedly hit her in the face, pointed a knife at her, and threatened to kill her. This all playing out while a relative was secured in a bedroom with 3 young children. Adams then allegedly tried to light window curtains on fire, but a witness saw what was happening through the window and was able to help extinguish the flames. 3 days after President Trump announced John Kelly is leaving his job as White House Chief of Staff, rumors are swirling about who will replace him. All in the running are Budget Director Mick Mulvaney, Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, Deputy Campaign Manager Dave Bossie, and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. North Carolina Congressman Mark Meadows is said to be in the lead.
Anytime that your name's floated to help the President of the United States accomplish things for the American people, it's flattering.
The new Chief of Staff will be the President's 3rd in under 2 years. The Harrisburg Diocese has hired a new employee whose focus is to help prevent future sex abuse. Janet McNeil is a consultant for the diocese and the Safe Environment Coordinator. McNeil says she wants to speak with victims and use their input to develop new policies to help recognize sexual predators. She also says she's combing through past church records, looking at the root of widespread sex abuse.
I plan to go back and find out what happened. I don't want to repeat the past, so I have to go back, review it, and understand it to see what happened.
McNeil is a former state police captain. She was also the chief administrator for Megan's Law, which requires sexual offenders to publicly register as such. We now know how expensive the race for governor of Pennsylvania was this year. We'll tell you how much Governor Wolf outspent Scott Wagner by and how his funds are making history. And Joe.
An up-close look at the state-of-the-art facility helping students lead the way in and innovate 21st century agriculture.
Well, a clear, cold start to the morning. I'll let you know when we're going to see a few snow showers with my first warning forecast. Yeah, pretty darn frigid. Outlying areas are down into the teens this morning. One of the colder mornings we've had. Record for today is 6. We won't be anywhere near that, but it is quite cold even for mid-December. A couple of extra minutes to scrape that windshield. Keeping an eye on things as we head toward Thursday. Pretty quiet next couple of days, but by early Thursday morning, that's that weak little impulse that could bring us a few snow showers. It's been so quiet, but a few snow showers early on Thursday morning could add up to a few slick spots. So we'll keep an eye on that here over the next 48 hours or so. In the meantime, it goes without saying, kids need to be really layered. Everybody needs to be layered up. In fact, even, with the pets, I know they have to go out first thing in the morning, but don't keep them out too long. As cold as it is out there this morning, chilly day, high temperatures getting into the upper 30s.
Well, really the only accident that we've been keeping our eye on this morning is in York County, just west of 83, heading on up towards the York Split. It's on Susquehanna Trail at Cloverleaf Road. So if you're heading in that direction, be prepared to take a little detour or expect some emergency officials on scene there. Other than that, 83 moving on up towards the York Split's looking good. Same goes for the rest of the Capitol Beltway. That's a look at your members first. Traffic alert.
Today, the Homeland Center in Harrisburg will hold a Kristallnacht commemoration against hatred. This year marks the 80th anniversary of Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass, when Nazis attacked Jewish communities at the start of the Holocaust. Today's ceremony will remember the lives lost and honor survivors. It will also honor the victims and survivors of the October Tree of Life synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh. Today's Harrisburg event begins at 10:30 this morning at the Homeland Center. The largest public educational aquaponics facility in the country is opening in Harrisburg today. CBS 21's Joe Ducey is live at Commonwealth Charter Academy. You've been showing us the incredible state-of-the-art facility. Joe, what you got this time?
Yeah, Sherry, good morning. It's a pretty awesome facility. This is the Ag Works at CCA facility, a 6,100 square foot facility that offers students a pretty much limitless possibility when it comes to growing different sorts of things. Aquaponics, if you're not familiar with it, it's essentially using waste from fish to help grow plants, fruits, vegetables. It's going to bring in Dr. Flory. Just talk a little bit about every plant, every light in this facility could be monitored from students right from their homes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're a statewide cyber charter school. So even though this facility is in Harrisburg, we have to make it accessible to students across the Commonwealth. So every system here can be monitored remotely through a web-based system. So we have students as far north as Erie or Philadelphia can actually work with the study of the plants in this facility, whether it be the lights, whether it be the soils, whether it be the fish. We also have specific labs in this facility. We have a tissue lab, an R&D lab where we start to do experimentation with light, as well as a genetics lab that is going to have CRISPR technology in it.
And so talk a little bit about, how does this play into the curriculum here? Could any student come in and do any sort of experiment they want?
It's really up to the student. Students can be involved as much or as little as they want. Some students just like to harvest the plants. Other students have individual research projects they've done, or we have courses that are built around the program that our teachers write specifically around agriculture and aquaponics.
And you guys could do some pretty cool experiments, everything from just changing the color of light and see how that affects plants, that sort of thing.
Yeah, part of what we want to do in this facility is teach students real life, real world, modern laboratory protocols, and so we can do that in these facilities. And as far as aquaponics is concerned, we're working with light signatures as far as how plants grow, accelerate growth, change colors in plants.
Awesome, Doctor. Thanks so much for joining us today. Sherry, for now, we'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Just incredibly fascinating. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Dr. Flory. Well, potholes are a pain to deal with, but one neighborhood has found a unique way to handle it. How a community in Pennsylvania is hoping a little Christmas magic will solve the problem. Authorities are investigating the cause of this massive apartment fire in Philadelphia. We first told you about this 5-alarm blaze. Ashley Honey had it from the Alert Center yesterday morning. It tore through the 4th floor of the building. Took crews about 6 hours to bring the fire under control. Now more than 65 people have been displaced.
All my belongings are gone. Everything I own is up in that house. I don't have anything but the clothes on my back, and I don't know what I'm gonna do.
A temporary shelter has been set up for the people who have no place to go. An Allentown man who fled to Mexico with a teenage girl will serve time in prison. Kevin Esterly was sentenced yesterday to 2.5 to 5 years. This after pleading guilty last month to misdemeanor corruption of a minor. In March, Esterly and 16-year-old Amy Yu were found in Mexico about 2 weeks after disappearing from Allentown. Esterly had signed her out of school without her parents knowing. Esterly has apologized and said the relationship was innocent. New data shows just how much the state's gubernatorial race cost the candidates. Total spending for the race topped $64 million, with Governor Wolf outspending his Republican challenger Scott Wagner. The governor spent about $31 million, while Wagner spent $22 million. Governor Wolf holds the record for most campaign spending, which stands at more than $82 million from the 2014 gubernatorial election. Governor Wolf and Lieutenant Governor-elect John Fetterman will be officially sworn into office January 15th in Harrisburg. A neighborhood in Wilkes-Barre is bringing attention to a large pothole on the street while adding a little Christmas spirit at the same time. Check it out. A neighbor put the Christmas tree fully decorated. Yeah, it's in the pothole. She says the goal is to keep drivers from hitting it while also bringing attention to what she believes is a safety hazard.
It can cause so many problems with these holes, and that's just not a pothole. That is sinkage.
Is it?
Yes, and it's starting to spiderweb. We took something ugly and we made it prettier, and 'tis the season, right?
Marietta says there's some sinkage there. Well, the city's Department of Public Works says it's aware of the pothole and will have it fixed in the next day or so.
And now, CBS 21 News First Warning Weather with meteorologist Steve Knight.
Well, one of the reasons why our temperatures have taken such a tumble here overnight is our skies, they're mainly clear as we start the day. It is just really cold down into the teens, pretty much widespread here this morning. Still hanging tough in the 20s, Chambersburg, Harrisburg, same thing down at Shrewsbury, southern York County, but everybody else is down into the teens as we start the day. So it is a cold start. Skies mainly clear. Let's widen out and show you this ridge of high pressure that's still in command for us. Southern storm finally sliding out to sea. But yeah, it was this ridge of high pressure that spared us from dealing with all the snow that they saw areas off to our south. Couple of extra minutes to scrape that windshield here this morning as we do have some patchy frost that has developed, as cold as it is, to start out the day. Pretty quiet next 48 hours or so as that cold air just kind of stays locked in. But we are going to watch for a couple of snow showers to be around first thing on Thursday morning. That could make for a little bit of a slick morning or tricky morning commute. Then our next bona fide storm that moves in is actually going to be just a plain old rainmaker for us, and it does look like it's going to be a bit of a soaking rain, especially on Saturday. So here we go with our future radar. Quiet the next 24 hours. You see that little impulse that came in, and unfortunately it went away here thanks to my computer. But that's what we're going to be dealing with early on Thursday. And take a look, and this is our future snowfall model, and you can see especially Harrisburg, areas to the north and to the west. And again, this is early Thursday morning. 6:30 a.m. on Thursday morning. Could be that just little quick coating of snow and could be enough to make for some slick spots. So a little concerned about that Thursday morning commute. And then we turn our attention to this guy right here. Big area of low pressure and a lot of moisture that's going to lift in from the south and from the west. Won't be any high pressure to block this one for the weekend. So by Friday evening, we'll look for some rain showers to start to arrive, likely after sunset. And then throughout the day on Saturday, it looks fairly soggy and could even be a leftover shower or two. Certainly some clouds for the first half of the day on Sunday. Cold air winning here in the middle of the week, but then watch what happens. Watch this little push of some warmer air that lifts in here just as we head toward the weekend. So that's why we're talking plain rain, because warm air arrives ahead of that warm front for us on Friday. Showers develop Friday after sunset. They linger throughout the day on Saturday. It does look like we could pick up about at least an inch of rain on Saturday, maybe more. That's something we'll be tracking here next couple of days for you. In the meantime, mostly sunny, breezy today. Highs in the upper 30s. Tonight, it's another cold night. Bundle up, 24, the overnight low. We'll watch out for a couple of snow showers to be around first thing Thursday morning. And then a rainy, soggy start to the weekend, especially on Saturday with periods of rain and a high near 50.
No issues for us in Lancaster this morning. Route 30 is moving nicely both east and westbound through the city. No problems on 283 heading on up towards the capital region. The Eisenhower Exchange is moving nicely. No problems in our inner city roads, and everything's moving along the posted speed once you get around to the Capitol Beltway. That's Look at Your Members First. Traffic alert.
A Russian spy is entering a plea deal. What prosecutors think Maria Butina did and why her guilty plea is coming as a surprise to many. Plus this.
I'm Bianca Goladriga. Coming up, former First Lady Michelle Obama opens up in our series Note to Self about meeting Barack Obama and balancing family life. That's coming up on CBS This Morning.
You're watching CBS 21 News This Morning.
A final check of our top stories. The U.S. military is stopping its search and recovery operation for 5 missing Marines. Overnight, officials declared them as dead. The Marines were on a plane that was refueling last Thursday when it collided with a fighter jet off Japan's southern coast. It happened during a regularly scheduled training exercise. 2 crew members were rescued, but 1 died. Officials say the survivor was in stable condition when found. Police are looking for a man accused of setting a home on fire in York County. 46-year-old Douglas Kiesecker is believed to have started a fire in a home on Castle Road in Newberry Township. Witnesses say the home started smoking moments after Kiesecker walked out. He was later spotted in a vehicle, and when police tried to pull him over, they say he refused to stop. Court documents show the woman who lives in the home recently filed a PFA against Kiesecker. Charges have been filed against a driver who fatally injured an off-duty Washington, D.C. firefighter in Carlisle. 57-year-old Robert Marshall was changing a tire along I-81 back in April when he was hit by a water tank truck. Marshall died at the hospital 8 days later. Officials say the driver who hit him was drunk with a blood alcohol content more than twice the legal limit. An accused Russian spy is cooperating with the federal government as part of a plea deal. Prosecutors say Maria Butina gathered information on American officials and political organizations on behalf of a high-ranking Russian official. Now Butina is pleading guilty to one federal count of conspiracy to complete a complete turnaround from when her lawyer said this a few months ago.
She's not an agent of the Russian government, the Russian Federation. She's innocent of the charges brought against her. Most importantly, she's a young student seeking to make her way in America.
Butina's lawyers are asking for a sentence of up to 6 months in jail. She also faces deportation. Today, President Trump will discuss his ideas for the next fiscal year's funding package with Democratic lawmakers. The president wants the bill to include at least $5 billion for his proposed border wall with Mexico. And the president is looking for a new chief of staff. 3 days ago, President Trump announced John Kelly is leaving his position at the White House. The top candidates for Kelly's replacement include Budget Director Rick Mulvaney, Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, Deputy Campaign Manager Dave Bossie, and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
The president needs to find somebody he's got confidence in and that whose judgment he trusts and that knows how to manage a complicated office.
The new chief of staff will be the president's third in under 2 years. People in North Carolina still trying to dig themselves out after this weekend's record-breaking snowfall. While the storm has moved east, winter weather advisories are still in place. Temperatures are plunging, causing melting snow to refreeze and making roads more dangerous. And hundreds of thousands of people are still without power.
Yeah, I mean, they've just seen temperatures really drop there. So any snow that tried to melt yesterday refroze overnight, and they're having all sorts of problems for the morning commute there. We're having a quiet commute, but it's just cold. The temperatures have slipped down into the teens. At least it's not windy out there this morning. That is the one good thing. Got to keep our eye on a weak little wave of energy that wants to slide in here very early on Thursday. And I do think that could trigger a snow shower or two very early on Thursday and maybe make things a little bit slick. And then it's all about rain. Friday evening it gets here, lingers throughout the day on Saturday. Just plain rain as we're warm enough over the weekend that it's just a rainmaker for us. So no snow over the weekend, but a snow shower or two early Thursday, Ashley.
Yeah, Steve, as you mentioned, it's been a quiet commute this morning. The roads are pretty clear and moving easy breezy for you. No issues moving around the Capitol Beltway. 81, 83, all looking good. Same goes for our river routes this morning and the Eisenhower Exchange.
That's always good, especially on a cold morning like this.
Oh my gosh,
right?
yeah. Get out there, folks, a little bit early and warm up your cars if you can because it is frigid.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
And a happy Tuesday.